The true story you're about to hear is absolutely horrifying in its own way. Without further ado, let's get into it. So back in April of 2023, a father out of Lancaster, UK, along with his 3 children, had been very excited about a birthday party that was going to be taking place in Keswick, which is roughly an hour away. And it wasn't the fact that there was going to be cake and presents and all that sort of stuff. No, it was more so the facility this party was going to be taking place at. You see, there is an establishment known as Kong Adventure, and essentially this is a huge indoor climbing facility with a few extra features for adults and children alike to enjoy. And by all accounts, when they arrive, everyone is having an absolute blast. I mean, it was everything they thought it could be. However, there is yet another component to this place that gives it a little bit of a competitive edge, something that even indoor climbing facilities seldom have. That is a series of tunnels or man-made cave located within the panels of those rock walls. It's often been described as essentially a series of tight winding passages comprised of fiberglass that mimics the appearance of the interior of a cave. And so at one point, this man along with a group of children decide they're going to give it a go. But little did they know the unfortunate and ultimately horrifying tragedy that was about to unfold. While the children had no issues traversing these tunnels, they're proving to be a little more difficult for the dad. And as they continued making their way further and further from the entrance, one of 2 things would happen according to reports. But it's important to note, we will be sticking with the actual report documented by one of many rescue teams called in that day. At any rate, the man tried turning around in order to head back the way he came in. But as soon as he does, pure panic instantaneously sets in as he has become completely wedged inside this thing. Now, unable to move, struggling to breathe, the man calls out for help. However, initial rescue efforts by the staff of this facility proved to be unsuccessful. There just simply wasn't enough room for anyone to gain enough leverage to be able to pull him out. It was at this time emergency services were notified, as customers and staff alike began removing wall panels in order to access this tunnel. And unfortunately, when the fire department arrived on scene, it was also very quickly discovered they too were not equipped for this situation. Unable to free him as well, 4 additional crews had to be called in, crews that specialize in complex mountain rescue operations. This man's name was Carl O'Keefe, and he would spend the next 4 hours completely stuck as more than 50 search and rescue personnel did anything and everything they could to free him, removing more panels, cutting through the wall in order to cut him out of this tunnel. But unfortunately, by the time they were able to do so, the damage had already been done. While Carl did initially survive, his condition would worsen over the course of the next week. He would tragically pass away 8 days later due to severe crushing-style injuries received from the incident. Now here's the thing. It's important to note when looking through sources about this incident, we understand the initial reporting of this incident was incorrect and has yet to be corrected even as of now. Reason being, not a single one of them actually took into account the words of those who were on scene at the time. The story we told you today comes from a statement made by Keswick Mountain Rescue personnel who were physically on scene during the incident. That being said, some of the main differences are as follows. Initial reports stated Carl had attempted to, I quote, turn a rock wall, at which point he ended up slipping and falling into a confined space within the wall itself. This was false and is still being taken as fact by many. Now, the other story floating around is a little closer to accurate, stating that he had slipped inside the cave, becoming stuck in the process, with the remainder of the information about this case being mostly correct. And for those of you who are interested, a link to the actual report made by Keswick Mountain Rescue can be found in the description below. My friends and frenemies alike, we will see you on the next one.